We would like to ask you, do you see e-fuels as a solution, a necessary solution, or a distraction from more sustainable solutions? So please vote again, and we will come back to this vote in a couple of seconds. Augustin, this was kind of an emotional discussion, and I think it's quite relevant because we had a couple of news in the newspapers in the last weeks where we could see some skepticism, I would say. We had Mercedes most prominently canceling its electric-only strategy, Jaguar Land Rover postponing or extending its combustion engine production. So, in your opinion, why do you see those companies being so reluctant with regard to EVs?
I think first need to put it in perspective with Mercedes. I would say they have not cancelled it, they also delayed it. And they're reacting to market demands, I would say. I mean, we have like supply and demand for electric vehicles, and I think maybe they overestimated the demand, maybe also in the premium segment and in different regions. And they see now the data that they are changing, and then the logical consequences that they adjust their strategy and then basically postpone then the EV goals.
Do you think that maybe especially the volume OEMs hoped to see a low-cost battery electric vehicle earlier on the road?
I think it's they first said 2025. Now it's around 2026. Yeah, so I think the timeline getting there is tough. Looking at the different components in the supply chain, batteries, etc. We talked about it this morning in the first panel. Yeah, so getting to this price point with like the supply chain and the internal setup, the internal organization, labor cost, etc. It's quite challenging, and yeah, let's see if we see it in 2025 or 2026.
Who would be first, in your opinion? What do you think?
I mean, we have already low-cost BEVs on the market, yeah, with like Renault, with the Dacia, or like the C3 from Stellantis now. That's launching soon. So, I mean, we're making the progress.
The results come in. What do we make out of them?
So we have here like 30% say it's a solution.
50-50 more.
50-50 more or less, yeah. So I think it's like what I tried to mention this morning also, it's not a black or white, yeah, or like either or. It's like, I think we need both, yeah. I think it was also part of the panel discussion before. BEVs might be like the way to go in certain areas of the world. In other areas where like BEVs is maybe not the right solution, we need then also other like sustainable solutions. E-fuels could be one of them. So yeah, I think it could be part of the solution, maybe not the dominant one, but then they're quite open and to the different technologies.
Coming back maybe to the aspect of cost, because the discussion centered around, do we have enough e-fuels for aviation and whatever, but enough is another word for demand and supply, right? So it always comes down to cost. When we think about cost, and probably you as MHP you also have some numbers there, coming back to cost and keeping in mind that hydrogen will be probably and mainly used. We have a hydrogen conference, by the way, for the production of steel and chemistry. So they want to have it all because they have no other way to produce steel or chemistry in another sustainable way. Then we have aviation, who probably will have no other solution as using, you know, sustainable aviation fuel, because the next generation airplane will not run on hydrogen in the mid-2030s. So keeping that in mind, that they will definitely demand sustainable aviation fuel and hydrogen, which is necessary for e-fuel production, is it really realistic that we pay an affordable price for e-fuel if we want? I mean, especially as we are talking about the people that cannot afford electric vehicles.
So I don't have like the numbers of how like low the price could be for like e-fuels. So you mentioned different parts of the industry as well. I think it should be all of our interest that like if we have like green hydrogen, etc., that this should go to like reducing the emissions in steel production or like in high chemistry processes or in aviation and first. And I think over time we will figure out if the price point and the supply is coming to a level where it then also makes sense to increase maybe then the share in of e-fuels in like the fuels we have today. Yeah, so I think I don't have the answer today if we will get there, but we will move in the right direction, and then I think we will see then also like higher share of e-fuels and then hopefully, or then also hydrogen, but hopefully then in the industry segments where we need it most. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The debate will definitely continue. I have seen that for the bar camps we also have a hot topic which is centered around e-fuels and electric vehicles. Let me, because we are close to lunch break, and let me maybe come back to one aspect that we didn't touch, which is more into the topic of transformation. We also had a couple of newspapers, newspaper articles that were about the reduction of workforce in the automotive industry, be it ZF, be it Continental, be it Bosch, and even in the R&D departments and even software engineers that were affected. So my more general question regarding the transformation, because I think that's closely related, is how would you assess the healthiness of the companies in the automotive industry, especially maybe in the supply chain?
Oh, it's hard to answer because
That's
there's
why
also
you are
like
the expert. Yeah.
also a quite range. So for me it's kind of an optimistic signal that they see, okay, we need to change, and that they are changing and adopting. Maybe they have taken too much time to get in the step, and now everything comes at once. And okay, we have all the different stories about the suppliers like refocusing their workforce, etc. Yeah? So I think this is for me it's more and more a good sign that that we get going, or that the industry is getting going and this like adopting, and on one side maybe reducing workforce for certain topics or try to re-educate them. I mean, it's also like if you look at some of the suppliers, they then also try to basically pool together maybe with like industry players from different like verticals and see, okay, could we maybe shift then our workers to them instead of retraining them for our purposes, etc. Yeah? So I think it's a good sign that there's dynamic in it, and that also especially like the German companies are looking for ways that are like then also like good for the employees, that it's then also kind of a fair outcome.
After consolidation usually comes growth.
Yeah. And I mean, there are also, again, I mean, okay, some maybe they will reduce, or then other areas they will increase. Yeah? We have also seen it in the last couple of months or years in the US, yeah, where, okay, we have seen all the big numbers that Google or Facebook or any other, they're reducing the teams by 10,000, yeah. So this is, and from day one to, or from one day to another, this will never happen in Europe at the automotive supply chain. But also we focused on then on like the news, okay, they fire a lot of people, but at the same time they were ramping up then other skills and other teams, yeah. And this is also happening in the automotive industry, not only with the OEMs but also the suppliers, yeah. So I think they also, we need to look at both sides, okay, what are they also building, and we tend to see the negative news, I would say, yeah, and exaggerate them maybe then also a bit. So I think this is then also, yeah, maybe let's focus on both.
Sounds good. Small teaser, tomorrow we will also talk about Apple. Another news. Ladies and gentlemen, next up is a lunch break.